In the grand kingdom of Esama, there lived a wealthy king named King Frederick. Esama kingdom is the most blessed and biggest kingdom among the five closest kingdoms. In the Esama kingdom, the prince must get married to the princess in one of the neighboring kingdoms, which has been their tradition in order to maintain peace among themselves. Prince David, the sole heir to King Frederick and Queen Margaret, was burdened with the weight of tradition. As the only son of the wealthiest and most powerful king among the four neighboring kingdoms, it was expected that he would marry a princess from one of these realms. This union would strengthen the alliance and ensure peace among the lands. But Prince David thought loyalty does not mean to follow tradition blindly. The princesses presented to him, though they were beautiful and refined, failed to capture his heart. Among the princesses competing for his affection were Princess Olivia of Ewulu, Princess Amaka of Azamu, Princess Rebecca of Ijeme, and Princess Amelia of Adonta. Each brought with her the pride of her kingdom, but none could set up the fire of love within the prince. Princess Olivia, the eldest among them, she believed her royal lineage alone should secure her place beside the prince. Princess Amaka, graceful and composed, eyed a quiet arrogancy. She is certain that her beauty would capture Prince David. Princess Rebecca, though young, was smart and manipulative, disguising her ambition behind a sweet face. Only Princess Amelia, gentle and kind-hearted, harbored genuine feeling for Prince David, but her affection was unreciprocated. Unknowingly to the royal court, Prince David's heart belongs to another, a humble maiden named Ada, who lived at the edge of the kingdom, had captured his affection. Ada was everything the princess were not: humble, compassionate, and radiant with an inner beauty that far outshone the courtly dames. She spent her days helping others, tending to the sick, and caring for the elderly. Her kindness was well known throughout the kingdom, and it was this quality that had drawn the prince to her. Prince David had met Ada during one of his frequent visits to the village, where he often disguised himself as a commoner. On one such visit, he encountered Ada as she was helping an elderly woman cross a busy street. Impressed by her selflessness, he began to seek her out, and soon a deep friendship blossomed between them. Their love, however, was not without its challenge. Ada, aware of her status, was reluctant to embrace the relationship, fearing the consequences it might bring upon both of them. Yet, despite her reservation, she could not deny the love she felt for Prince David. As rumor of the prince's affection for a commoner spread, the palace was filled with gossip. The princesses, once confident in their position, now felt threatened. Their hopes of winning the prince's heart seemed to fade as they realized that a mere maiden had succeeded where they had failed. Princess Olivia confronted Prince David. Her voice dripped with scorn as she demanded, "How can you forsake your duty for a common girl? We are princesses born of noble blood. It is our right to be married to you." Prince David, calm yet stubborn, responded, "I will not marry for tradition or duty. I will marry for love, and my heart has chosen Ada." Princess Amaka, who had been listening to them behind the door, got involved in the disagreement. "You are making a grave mistake, David. Your marriage is not just about you, it's about the future of the kingdom. Think of the alliance, the peace that will be secured through a royal union." But Prince David remained unmoved. "I will not sacrifice my happiness for political gains. I love Ada, and she will be my bride." Words of David's resistance soon reached King Frederick, his father, who was very angry. He summoned his son to the throne room, where he unleashed his anger on him. "This is unacceptable. You are the prince of Esama, and you will marry a princess as tradition demands." Queen Margaret, trying to calm the situation, attempted to mediate. "My king, perhaps we should meet this girl before we pass judgment." But the king was adamant. "There is nothing to discuss. David will marry a princess, or he will no longer be my son." Meanwhile, the princesses, frustrated by their failure to win Prince David's heart, began to conspire against Ada. Princess Olivia, Princess Amaka, and Princess Rebecca, who had never been close, found common ground in their shared dislike for the maiden. They hired the help of a guard in the palace named Vincent, a man known for his cunning and corrupt ways. Vincent was only too happy to assist the princesses, hoping to gain favor with one of them. He devised a plan to publicly disgrace Ada, thus ensuring she would be seen as unfit for the prince. The princesses, eager to see Ada humiliated, agreed to the plan without hesitation. The first part of the scheme involved spreading vicious rumors about Ada. Vincent, the palace guard, paid villagers to whisper lies, accusing her of using black magic to enchant the prince. He also arranged for false evidence to be planted in her home. Strange symbols and herbs meant to suggest she was a witch. The princesses spread the rumors throughout the court, and soon even the villagers began to question Ada's innocence. Ada, unaware of the plot against her, continued her daily routine, though she noticed the cold stare and whispered insults that followed her wherever she went. The villagers, once friendly, now avoided her, and she was turned away from the market stores where she had once shopped freely. Prince David, sensing something was wrong, visited Ada one evening. He found her sitting by the fire, tears streaming down her face. "What happened, Ada? Why are you so sad?" Ada hesitated, but then poured out her heart. "People are saying terrible things about me, my prince. They accused me of witchcraft, of using magic to capture you. I don't understand why they hate me so much." Prince David took her hands, his voice filled with conviction. "These are lies, Ada. I know you, and I know your heart. You are not what they say. I will put an end to this rumor, I promise." But the prince's promise was not enough to subdue Ada's fear. The harassment continued, and soon she was accused of causing a young child who had fallen ill after visiting her. The child's mother, a woman easily manipulated by gossip, publicly accused Ada of using dark powers to harm her son. The situation escalated quickly. A crowd formed outside Ada's cottage, demanding justice. They called for her to be brought before the king and judged for her supposed crime. Prince David, arrived just in time to stop them, but the damage had been done. The villagers, once loyal to their prince, now saw him as a man bewitched by a sorcery. In desperation, Prince David brought Ada to the palace, hoping his father would listen to his reasons, but King Frederick was unmoved by his son's plea. "This girl has brought nothing but trouble to our kingdom. She is not fit to be your bride, and I will not allow it." Queen Margaret, who had always been sympathetic to her son's feelings, tried to intervene. "My king, please, we must hear Ada's side of the story." But the king was firm. "There is nothing more to discuss. If David continues to defy me, he will be stripped of his title and banished from the kingdom." The threat was clear, and Prince David knew he had to act quickly. He took Ada and flew the palace, seeking a place for safety in the nearby forest. There, they found a small hut where they could hide while they figured out their next move. The days in the forest were filled with tension and uncertainty. David and Ada lived in constant fear of being discovered, and their love was tested as never before. Yet, even in the fear of danger, their bond grew stronger. They shared their hopes, their fears, and their dreams, finding solace in each other's company. Meanwhile, back at the palace, the princesses were pleased with the mess they had caused, but their satisfaction was just for a short time. Queen Margaret, deeply troubled by her son's disappearance, began to investigate the situation more closely. She visited the village in disguise, speaking with the villagers and learning the truth about the rumors. When she returned to the palace, she confronted the palace guard Vincent and the princesses, accusing them of conspiring against Ada. The elders were shocked by the revelation, and the king, Frederick, was forced to reconsider his stance. He realized that his stubbornness and pride had driven his son away, and he began to fear that he might lose David forever. Just as the king was preparing to send soldiers into the forest to search for his son, an unexpected visitor arrived at the palace. Ada's mother. Her name was Ngozi, a noble woman from Azuma Kingdom, but lived in Esama. Ngozi had a secret, one she had kept for many years. As she stood before the king and queen, she took a deep breath and began to speak. "Your Majesty, there is something you must know about Ada." The room fell silent as Ngozi revealed the truth. Many years ago, she had fallen in love with a king from the Azamu Kingdom. But when she became pregnant, the king, fearing scandal, abandoned her. She had flew to Esama, where she gave birth to her daughter, Ada. Unwilling to reveal her noble heritage for fear of punishment, she had raised Ada as a commoner, hiding the truth from everyone. "Ada is not just a maiden," Ngozi declared, her voice steady. "She is a princess, the rightful heir to Azamu Kingdom." King Frederick was stunned. He looked at Ada, who was as shocked as everyone else in the room, and in an instant, everything changed. The maiden who everyone had treated with disrespect was revealed to be royalty with a lineage as noble as any in the 5 kingdoms. King Frederick, still shocked from the revelation, found himself filled with regret. His action had been driven by pride and tradition, but now he saw how wrong he had been. He had nearly destroyed his son's happiness and dishonored a true princess. The king, full of guilt, approached Ada. "Please forgive me," he said. his voice heavy with remorse. "I have wronged you deeply. You deserve the respect and honor befitting a princess, and I will make amends for my action." Prince David, who had never wavered in his love for Ada, stood by her side, his heart filled with both relief and joy. The truth had finally come to light, and now nothing stood in the way of their happiness. The palace was filled with the news of Ada's true identity. The same nobles who had once turned their back on her now rushed to apologize, eager to win favor with the newly revealed princess. But Ada, ever kind-hearted, accepted their apologies with grace, though she remained wary of those who had wronged her. Princess Amaka, who was from the Azamu kingdom, was shocked after hearing the revelation that Ada was her father's daughter. The princesses, however, found themselves in a situation. Princess Olivia, who is now Ada's sister, Amaka, and Rebecca were filled with shame, their schemes laid bare for all to see. They had been defeated not by a common maiden, but by a princess of a noble bloodline they had failed to recognize. In a grand ceremony, King Frederick publicly acknowledged Ada as the daughter of Ngozi and a rightful princess from the Azamu kingdom. He offered her a place in the royal family and announced that she would be married to the prince, his son. The news of the upcoming wedding spread like wildfire throughout the 5 kingdoms. The union of Prince David and Princess Ada was celebrated as a symbol of true love. The people who had once been skeptical of Ada now embraced her as their future queen. Preparation for the wedding began in earnest. The palace was transformed into a sense of splendor, with decorations, music, and feasts being planned for the grand celebration. Dignitaries and nobles from all 5 kingdoms were invited to witness the union, and the event promised to be the most magnificent in Esama's history. As the wedding day approached, the tension that had once filled the kingdom gave way to joy and excitement. David and Ada spent their days together, planning their future and dreaming of the life they would build as husband and wife. On the day of the wedding, the sun shone brightly over Esama. The palace gardens where the ceremony was to take place were adorned with flowers and banners representing all 5 kingdoms. The air was filled with the sounds of music and the laughter of guests who had gathered to witness the historic event. Ada, dressed in a gown of the finest silk, walked down the aisle on the arm of her mother, Ngozi. Her heart swelled with emotions as she saw Prince David waiting for her at the altar, his eyes filled with the love and pride. The journey they had taken to reach this moment had been fraught with challenges, but now they stood on the threshold of a new life together. King Frederick, standing beside his son, looked upon Ada with admiration and respect. He knew that she would make a worthy queen, not just because of her noble belt, but because of her strength, kindness, and unwavering love for his son. The ceremony was a beautiful and moving affair, filled with the heartfelt vows and blessings of the gathered dignitaries. When Prince David and Ada were finally pronounced husband and wife, the crowd erupted in applause and cheers. The couple shared a kiss, sealing their love in front of the entire kingdom. The celebration that followed was as grand as the ceremony itself. A feast was held in the great hall of the palace, with tables laden with delicacies from all 5 kingdoms. There was dancing and music late into the night, the guests rejoicing in union of the prince and princess. As the night drew to a close, Prince David and Ada slipped away from the crowd, seeking a moment of peace in the quiet of the palace garden. Under the light of the moon, they reflect on their journey, the tried they had faced, and the enemies they had overcome, and the love that had brought them together. "We have been through so much," Ada said, wrestling her head on David's shoulder, "but I wouldn't change a thing. Every challenge, every hardship has only made our love stronger." Prince David smiled, wrapping his arm around her. "You are my heart, Ada. I would face 1,000 tries just to be with you, and now we have a lifetime to share together." As they sat there, surrounded by the beauty of the night, they knew that their love had been tested and proven unbreakable. Together, they would rule the kingdom with the wisdom and compassion, drawing on the lessons they had learned and the bond that had united them.